And they're going to take over all the police, everybody. And they're going to tell you, you don't have freedom. You're here to provide us children to gang rape them. Okay? That's the U.S. government. Child molesting scum. DynCorp, Halliburton, it's all come out in Congress. They can't get in trouble. Your children belong to them. We'll be right back. By the way, I mean, I meant what I just said going into break. If you study the Roman Empire, the Aztecs, the Babylonians, always some weird cult of miscreant psychopath control freaks get into control. And there's different cult groups that, but they're always into dominating the innocent, sacrificing children. They always want to take their power to the greatest extreme. So every culture slits little kids' throats, cuts their hearts out, burns them, whatever the case is. And, of course, as a side issue, rapes them. Now, that's a very small percentage psychologically, spiritually of the population, but that's who wants the power. And so, of course, we have people like Jerry Sandusky with this university's ongoing long cover-up, the police covering it up, the grand jury's covering it up, the prosecutor covering it up, and then disappearing. And hard drives found in the water. Believe me, it isn't just Sandusky. Just like with the Catholic Church or anything else, where there's one roach, there's thousands. And I've seen the congressional hearings where they admit DynCorp, Halliburton, and others were running giant global kidnapping rings of men, women, children. Men for slave labor camps, women for sex, kids, all of it. And it comes up and nobody even gets in trouble. It comes out in the Chicago Tribune and it's like, well, that's the government. You know, just never mind. Just type in UN child trafficking. You'll get BBC, AP, Reuters. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't know this stuff 17 years ago when I got on the radio. I was more like a mainline Ron Paul type libertarian. And then all those guys, they all know about that stuff too. They just focus on politics. I will tell you the entire story. And it's just bottomless. Once these people get over universities, law enforcement, military, corporations, government, they recruit their people in. I can go on for hours. All the news articles about hundreds of male madams visiting the White House in multiple administrations. I did a report on it. I've got the news articles with the credit card receipts, you know, in the newspaper. Remember, the latest was Jeff Gannon, the male madam, hundreds of visits with other men to the White House in 2004, 5, 6. And just bizarre, weird press conference photos with Bush hugging him and kissing him on the head. I mean, I just, you know, I can't handle it anymore, man. I can't. We got lunatics running things. These people. In fact, we have a video of your Prisonplanet.tv viewer. Jaron, what's the name of it, or what sites you get it from if folks want to, who are listening on the... It's on what? Again, World Star Hip Hop, the one that shows all the videos of gang members beating up old people. Okay, let's show the video. Here's Sandusky with some high school football players showing them how it's done. And again, you learn he was out there running charities for children so he can help them. How many times do you hear about Homeland Security people or others, or people running children's charities or charities fighting the abuse of children? Again, CPS, so they're their own investigators, and so no one can catch them, and no one will believe the kids. I told Watson to an article on Friday. I said, I know the statistics 5 times more likely for CPS to abuse your kid than anybody else, Justice Department's own numbers. Paul wrote the article, and that's true. Violently 5 times. 17 times sexually. 17 times more likely to abuse children than any other group. It's like, oh, your parents... I see CPS take kids all the time because mom lets the 4-year-old play in the backyard with a fence around it. And then you read about school buses dropping 4-year-olds off 2 miles from home now that are going to public school. They're trying to get them younger and younger. And the school's like, it's fine. The government's like, it's fine. But, oh, your kid was in the backyard. Or your kid fell off a jungle gym and broke their finger. We're taking them and giving them to a pit of piranhas. Oh, you're 17 times more likely than any other group. Truancy officers, off the charts. Cops, off the charts. All these groups that want to, Boy Scout leaders, off the charts. They want to be around kids. I'm not saying all the Boy Scout leaders. It's a good organization. The point is the predators come there. Why do seagulls get by the edge of the ocean where the little minnows are at, or at the end of the dock when the shrimp boats come in? Because they're full of fish they're going to throw overboard. Why do predators go that want kids? to kids because that's where the kids are. Hey, Dillinger, why do you rob banks? Because that's where the money is. Or was that Bonnie and Clyde? And 17 times more likely than even truancy officers, who are the next group. 17 times. You're just literally, from my deep research, half of them are pedophiles. You are handing little kids all day over to people, and then you see it. That little girl, at 13 years old, 12 years old, up in Michigan, the big case, her mom wouldn't vaccinate her. And so they came and took her, and then she got sexually transmitted diseases right after at the foster home. And then there's no enforcement. They can beat the kids, kill them, starve them, just because no one cares. It's just totally sick. I'm digressing now. Brad in Pennsylvania. It's just hell on earth has been released on us. And people are so naive. Go ahead, Brad.
Hey, Alex.
Welcome. I'm not too good thinking about how there's literal monsters everywhere in uniforms and just running around with wicked pedophile judges grabbing everybody's kids. This country's been literally delivered into Satan's hands. But of course we have. We've aborted 51 million babies and call it a medical procedure. We chop up babies. Of course our country's run by devil-worshipping pedophiles. And while he's talking, show the Sandusky video. Go ahead.
This is what you want. This is what you get.
That's right.
I love that piece you did. And you're right. I mean, with the Penn State thing, I'm right up here near there, and it's like, you got Paterno, who's, deified, and then on the other side in the corner over here of the room, I don't think he knew much about it. If he did, he should have done more. He should have said something. But over in the corner here, you got, like you're saying, this pedophile ring. It's disgusting.
Oh, and but don't worry, they've got the Merck CEO. I mean, he's close to Lucifer as it gets with the Gardasil, the Vioxx, all of it, flapping in like Count Dracula. He's going to run the cover-up.
Like they can do anything now about it instead of focusing on the victims. And they say they
covered it up for 18 years.
There's got to be 108 or 208 or 500 victims, not just 8 they're talking about.
There's dead people. There's missing prosecutors.
Yeah, that's bizarre.
I guarantee you there's devil worship, everything else. Folks, I've been there. I've infiltrated these groups, Bohemian Grove, Skull and Bones. I've covered it. You don't understand. They run it all, and they must be defeated.
As far as Ron Paul goes, he's got to go. He's got to go independent, doesn't he? He's got it. I mean, there's so much support for him out there. Outside the Republican National Committee. If he goes third party, he's got a shot. I don't understand why he just doesn't say now. I'm out. I'm running as independent.
Yeah, I think he's on next week. The problem is, there's one day I'm out on business, Thursday, and I got Aaron sitting in, and I think that's the day he wants to come on. But Ron Paul, I may just end up just staying so I do the interview. But listen, obviously, if he doesn't get the nomination by March, if it doesn't look like he's going to win then, of course, something could catch on. Let me say January, February, March, April, May max. Then he runs over, takes over the libertarian system. They're the strongest third-party system in 50 states. They've got ballot access, and it's off to the races to inject real issues and then get equal time in the national debates. Again, what do you think of him getting 89 seconds? 80?
That's ridiculous. That's absolutely asinine.
Ladies and gentlemen, predators group together and seek badges, guns, and power so they can get away with their evil. They want power. They want bondage. They want to dominate you. They want to come in your house without warrants. They want to track you. That's why the Founding Fathers said don't give up your liberties to government, because if you do, it allows the criminals to take over government and literally give you hell on earth, and it's now coming. The judgment of America is at hand. All right, if you're watching on Prisonplanet.tv, you'll notice the headline out of Time magazine. I've told you for 17 years the New World Order is a globalist megabank coup over the world. I've told you for the last 4 years they would implode Europe in the next step after starting the first crisis in 2008, 3.5 years ago, and that after each country they take over and get trillions more, then they would only expand their takeover, that it's a bankster takeover. Max Kaiser calls it bankster occupation. Here's Time magazine. Regime change in Europe. Do Greece and Italy amount to a banker's coup? And it goes over the fact that even though the leaders of the countries did what the bankers told them to do, the puppet leaders leave, the banksters take over, they raise the taxes to pay money the bankers owe. And you apologize to the bankers. I'm sorry you created all these derivatives and put your people into government and robbed us. Here's everything we've got. They're like, that's good. Now we're going to implode the euro completely under IMF and World Bank control, and now individual countries will be ruled by us. Thank you for ripping us off. Here it is. And it goes over this. They go on to say the voice of the people no longer matters. It's global government by the bankers, and that's it. But if you talk about this, the Southern Poverty Law Center or ADL or others will come out and claim that secretly you're wearing Hitler underwear. Kind of like, I don't like government-run health care. Shut up, racist. Okay, all righty. What does that have to do with it? Again, here it is, world government banker coup. Okay, I'm going to get to Nathan, Jim, Martha, Ronald, Alan, Gary, Gene, and really, this is something I'm going to have to spend an hour on tomorrow or Tuesday on the weekday show because it's so big, and I want to get to these calls. But here's the kernel and of information, and while I'm talking, we'll show some video I shot yesterday while hiking on Barton Creek with my family. Again, I understand that when trails go over, and I'm not reaching out to old listeners, I'm talking about new listeners right now, so this will bore some people. I'm not saying that when jets fly at 10, 20, 30,000 feet, they don't create condensation around their wingtips, and that around that then forms ice crystals, condensation nuclei. I got it. I understand it. In the mid-1990s, suddenly, jet contrails started to be persistent, and huge cloud banks began to form. And environmental scientists like Clifford Carnicom and others came out and sent airplanes up, got tests, and said, this is some kind of weather modification program. And back then it was just government aircraft, unmarked. Now it's mixed in with most of the aviation jet fuel. And lo and behold, we went and found the patents on that. And I'm going to be showing those tomorrow. You can just Google patents for mixing chemtrail ingredients. It'll have the layman term into jet fuel. Or patents for aerosol spraying, aerosol or barium salt aluminum dioxide and jet fuel. And you'll see all the patents. But point is, I'm going to do reports on it tomorrow and Tuesday. We've covered this before, but for 5 years, I've been really researching this in depth and kind of working on a film intensely for 2 years. And I've just decided to take the pieces of the film, the research, and just put it out on the radio and TV now. We don't have time to wait and make the perfect film and, quite frankly, make a bunch of money. This isn't even about that. Of course, if I charge money for it, then people will appreciate it. It'll get 50 million views online. We put it out for free. If I give it away for free, it'll get 100,000 views. So maybe I should just wait and put it all together. But I shot some video as jets were laying down the trails. In pre-1995, 96, all over the United States and Europe, trails would go away in a few seconds to a few minutes max. Now, they stay up there an hour or more and expand out as nuclei, forming water droplet particles and forming giant cloud banks. And in fact, when I first got out on Barton Creek, it was a clear blue sky. An hour and a half later, it looked like that, what you're seeing on your screen. If you're a radio listener, just go to Infowars.com. The article is Colossal Geoengineering in Plain Sight. NASA reported 5 years ago that the Earth is now receiving at least 20% less sunlight than 10 years before. After 16 years of denial, the White House science czar, John P. Holdren, now admits that they have been testing the manipulation of Earth's atmosphere with barium salts, aluminum dioxide, and other toxic compounds. Bottom line, there is a worldwide secret program to manipulate the atmosphere. They admit it's happening, but they won't tell us exactly why or what they're doing. In full. Now, what happened 3 years ago when John P. Holdren got in? The first press conference he gave. Just type in White House Science Czar on geoengineering. You'll get AP, Reuters, BBC, and the video. The first speech he gave. And then Bill Gates came out and said he's invested $5 billion in it, in weather control. And they say, gee, we've been spraying barium salts, aluminum dioxide, and all the things that the old-timers, I say old-timers, 15, 16, 17, 18 years